Ah. Hello everybody, this is probably quite a British video today, hence the very nice couple. They do make a lovely pair, don't they, of the Queen and Mr. Bean. That rhymes. Yes, this is the very nostalgic pot noodle. Now for me, before I started learning to cook, I would basically have one of these maybe 1 or 2 times a week. Basically, it's full of like dried noodles. It's got different flavourings. Chicken and mushroom tended to be the most popular one. What I would love to do is pour the water up to the filling. It's got a kind of stock already built in around the noodles. Then you add soy sauce as well. I'd let it all sort of ferment, then dunk buttered bread in it. It would be the ultimate meal in a pot. I was kind of like addicted to them, and over the last 2 months, I've had one, and then like the week later, I was like, I've got to have another one. I started to be like, no, don't do it. Just as a treat, I was like, oh, I'll just roll back the years and had one. What happened is the night that I had that pot noodle, I went and played football, and all I remember is halfway through, yes, I might be unfit, but also like my breath, feeling like I've been drinking the sea with the amount of salt that I'd suddenly discovered was in this. And this is Mrs. B before I left for work this morning.
Oh my goodness, have you seen what is in these pot noodles?
Yeah, but they're nice.
Yeah, but they're really, really bad for you.
Yes, I know they're a teeny bit naughty, but it's a treat, right? But I never really quite realised how much stuff is in this. It's kind of like walking into a nightclub where you don't really know anyone, then you see one of your friends. It's like, you've got maltodexatrexin, potassium chloride, glutamate, sodium isonate, and then you've got sweet corn. Hey, sweet corn, how's it going? Like, other than all these chemical sounding names, I can see chives, I can see sage, I can see sweet corn, I can see noodles. I couldn't see chicken. That's the soy sauce, right? My whole life has been a lie with these pot noodles. I always thought there was chicken pieces in it, but no, it's not. I was having a conversation on Twitter this morning and I said, look, there's no chicken in it, but what it is actually little pieces of soy. So if we're gonna replicate this, we're going to put proper chicken pieces in it. So this is my food dehydrated thing, so you can dehydrate loads of stuff. So whatever we put in here, we could like go crazy. We could do other different meats and things like that. We could do a jerky pot noodle. Nice. But I know some of you won't have this. And also when it comes to dehydrating chicken, you really need to get that internal temperature up, which the oven is probably better for anyway. But it does take a bit of time, so we'll get that going and then we can do a few other things. And there was also something years ago called a pot mash. We're going to do one of those as well. Alright, preheating my oven to 180C fan with 200C gas mark 6400F. I'm going to actually bring out my own little Barry Lewis ones of these because I think they're blooming awesome. Everyone should have one on their fridge. Are you magnetic? Okay folks, so what I've got here are some mini chicken fillets. So what I'm going to do, because it's easier to slice them now before they get obviously a bit more dried out, is just cut them into little bite-sized pieces that basically I always thought were chicken in the pot noodle. Because we want it to be in there, we want the chicken flavour as well, and of course we could rub this in seasonings as well, but I want to keep it just chicken. It will get smaller as it cooks as well, and I'm not going to turn the camera around because I've got chicken hands, but the dogs have suddenly lined up behind the camera, they can see what I'm doing. There we go, so that was from one fillet, which I think will be plenty for one pot. I'll do that to a couple of others, and we'll get it baking. So I've spread that out as best I can, there'll be times once it starts to cook to do that a little bit better. But this will be going in for 2 hours. It won't be alone, but we'll get it start cooking first of all. Loving the chicken. My actual aim today isn't to make the most super healthy homemade pot noodle ever, because there was lots of other different noodles we could get. There was wheat noodles. There was actually a protein. Oh my God. There was like a calorie-free one. So many. I just want to kind of try and replicate a vessel where everything is in there sealed by, like ready to be eaten with the hot water poured on it. So by dehydrating the ingredients, whatever you choose to use, so we're going to dehydrate the sweet corn and the mushrooms as well, it should work. So as we know in the pot noodle, you get this sort of foil lid, which we can just replicate that with tin foil. You get your soy sauce, nice little sachet of that. That's probably half the salt content alone, to be honest. And then that's the mix in there. Now, I can't get these very easily, but what I can get is these disposable party cups like this, and you can see there's quite a lot of seasoning in there, way more than I thought. To be fair, I normally just put hot water in it. I don't smell it. That does smell quite chemically. Despite that, I would still eat it. So almost like a freshly baked cake. I've just worked my way around the edge there. There you go. So the noodles are kind of like slabbed together like that. I'm going to weigh that a minute. So there's about 50 grams there, plus a little bit there. I'm going to go about 60 grams. And the rest is just sort of seasoning. I can't even see the bits that I used to think were chicken, and there's hardly any sweet corn in there at all. Kettle's just starting to boil. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to put hot boiling water in here because I want to show you, and I've never seen it myself, what happens behind those normally white plastic walls. It should hold it. Okay, so hopefully, yeah, it might steam it up, but I'm gonna fill it just to cover it. There we go. Prod it a little bit. And you can see all the seasoning down the bottom. Well, I'm not gonna worry about that just yet. I'm gonna replicate a lid with some foil. Oh my gosh, I just squished it down. It's gone really weak, did you see that? Like a really tipsy pint of beer. Oh dear. Well, I think as it cools slightly, it will be all right, but that's quite weak now. You can see pot noodle etiquette though, how you really want to mix that all together. But right now, the noodles are cooking. Okay, so as per the official instructions, 2 minutes, and the actual noodles do look, yeah, they're quite softened already, look at that. So we're gonna give this a good old stir. Get rid of all that lumps down the bottom, and I've got to be honest, in the past, I've probably not done that. Okay, and then we add in the soy sauce and mix it through. And now, I wouldn't always do this because I'd be just so excited to eat it. Ugh. And just while I'm waiting for that, I've got a bowl with a sieve here, and obviously sweet corn does have a little bit of water in, you can see that coming out there. I want to get this as dry as I can. And to one side also, these are the mushrooms I've got. They're just like some chestnut mushrooms that I've washed and I've sliced thinly. I was going to use porcini, which I think would produce an extremely strong stock. I thought, oh, that's amazing, you have to hydrate those anyway, but I thought it might be a bit overkill. Now obviously there's a bit of moisture content in mushrooms anyway, so when we bake them, they will reduce down even more, but happy with that. Okay, here it is. Oh, seriously, I know I'm showing a healthier version, but once a year as a treat, slice of bread into strips with butter on it, dunk that in now in that soup. Oh. But maybe ours will do exactly the same. We don't know. Oh, it's quite mesmerising, isn't it? I've never seen it like that before. But you can still see the heat coming off of it. Nostalgia. But I think, although it's going to get really, really cold, and maybe Mrs. Barry will drink it later by accident, which would be hilarious, I think we'll show it for reference at the end of the video to see if we get anything close to that. So the chicken's already had about half an hour in here on its own. Oh yeah. I need to break it up with a fork and get those other bits in. There we go. This has actually caught a lot quicker than I thought it would, so I'm glad we've taken it out now. It's gone nice and brown, so you can have that extra flavour and crunch in there. But you can see in the middle still, you've got those nice white bits of chicken that you're after. So when it goes in with our hot stock and the hot fluid going in there, it's going to loosen it up, it's going to rehydrate it, and it should work a charm. Here we are. So it's a little bit like a traffic light. Sweet corn's in the middle. It won't turn into popcorn, and we're not going to leave it in there that long. It's not going to get that hot, but that would be hilarious. And the mushrooms here, just make sure that you flatten them all out so they're all on one nice edge. If you want halfway through, you can whip them round, but we just got to cover this. All right, there we go. I'm going to leave that for another hour, and that should dry out perfectly. Whilst that is in the oven then, let's just have a little bit of fun and see if we can replicate how they made the pot mash. They haven't made them for blooming years. I even tweeted them once saying, you got to bring this back. But hey, let's see if we can do it. So the main body of it, rather than being noodles, is actually potatoes. This is instant mashed potato. 4 tablespoons of that I'm going for. This is proper nostalgia right here. Instant mashed potato, just add water. Not the tastiest, but it gets you by. Well, it did it in the 90s anyway for me. Now here are some croutons. You might say, hey Barry, I've never seen croutons that small before. That's because a minute ago they were big and I did this. So I'm gonna add those in. And these are some cooked onions in like little strips. You know, you get these for salads as like bites and stuff. And I think sometimes you get them at the salad bar in Pizza Hut. And it did have a curry vibe. So I've got a tablespoon of mild curry powder here. From my memory, that was the main textures and body to this. I'm sure there was probably other things in the one that they made, but that's what I'm gonna go for, and we'll see at the end if that's worked. So I'll put it in my no expense spared pot noodle dispenser. When it was 1999 with the whole millennium thing, and people built bunkers in their gardens, people would have loved these. Let's start to bring this together. These are the medium egg noodles I got. They did like thick ones, they did thin ones as well, but I tried to do it from memory of what I thought they were like. In fact, they are a teeny bit thicker. Damn. Never mind, you can get thick noodles if you want. My point is, I just weighed 1 sheet because they came as 5 in a pack, and it is actually the same weight. It's 60 grams. Obviously not got the powder and the other ingredients in it, but we're close, and that is all that matters. Remember that hack that I showed you recently with Mrs. B where we rolled up the sage and we just chop it really fine? Try not to get the chives involved. There we go, nice and fine. Now remember, this is fresh herbs for both of these, chives as well. If you're doing this and you're going to store it longer term, I would suggest using the dried variety that you get and you keep in your spice rack. There we go, look at that. That'll be plenty. You might remember last year I did my own homemade stock from scratch and I was gonna use it for this video, but 2 reasons why I'm not. One, we used the last of it last night in a risotto, stonking. And 2, I did put quite a lot of salt in that to make that. And to be honest, we're not gonna massively get around the salt issue entirely here, but we can use reduced salt alternatives. So what I've got is a low sodium chicken stock cube. This is just 1/4 of one. There was also onion powder on the ingredients list. That stood out too, so I'm gonna add some of that in. These are actual onion granules. See, they're a little bit thicker. Don't worry, that's why it's in this baby. I went to one of those health stores and I've got some like really low sodium salt, really healthy bouillon powder, which actually looks almost identical in color to the ones that we saw earlier. You see? So what I'm gonna do is grind, particularly the onion granules, that together. So there we go, the pestle and mortar and pestle, whatever you want to call it. Nice, that's our powder done. To be honest, whilst it's sat in that nice little container, we might as well push the other bits in. So this is the chives and the sage from earlier. Not gonna grind this down because as we saw when we dissected it, they were in nice pieces like that. But if we just get it to sort of just mingle with that, it will disperse as we add, disperse, what a word, as we add the hot water later. How brilliant. Oh, it smells good. So let's bring it together. The noodles, which I'm gonna break down a little bit. Dehydrated sweet corn. Dehydrated chicken. Can you hear that? It's crunchy, but it will soften. Dehydrated mushroom. Loads of flavour coming from that. The smell is insane. And I might knock the microphone. There we go. Get the seasoning in. Get it all coated together. I think we're ready for some water. All right, I've just boiled my kettle in the background, so that'll go off in a minute. Just a little reminder, when you buy the noodles, I'm gonna have to hold this, put it in a jug to kind of help me. When you buy the noodles, make sure they're ones that cook in 3 or 4 minutes. If you get the ones that are like, yeah, takes 15 minutes. I mean, most don't, but just keep an eye out. When it comes to soy sauce, in a supermarket, you'll tend to see 2 or 3 varieties. You get your regular, then you get one called light, then you get one called reduced salt. Now, I spent 10 minutes of my life looking at these this morning in the supermarket, and I determined that the reduced salt one looked the best for us, and on the actual sort of breakdown for your gubbins, all right? I like this angle because Mr. Bean's kind of loitering in the background. It looks like there's more noodles, and I'm not gonna lie, there possibly could be, but remember mine aren't compact. So let's get that in up to cover them. And now the pot mash. We might as well. You can see the bubbles. I don't know, like this is sort of starting to break down as it's hitting the powder. This one is gonna need a stir. I remember with this one that you did have to actually top it up with water there if you felt like it needed it, and this does feel like it needs it. But we can re-stir that again, doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, it nearly did it again. It bends. It bends so easy. Foil lids on top, just to basically kind of keep that heat in, radiate it. Tin foil's amazing for that. Okay, let's leave them for 2 minutes. All right, 2 minutes is up. Oh, the smell's great. In goes the soy sauce. Whoosh. Optional, actually. Those noodles do need a little longer. The pot noodle ones, they were done after 2 minutes, but that does need it. The mash, which, remember, it's just a bonus bit of fun thing for me, really. I mean, I've got to get something out of this. The powder's mostly gone, actually. That's pretty good. Oh, I see the bits in there. Nice. All right. 2 more minutes. Oh. Oh my gosh, it's got the stock as well. Like I said, that little bit of bread in there, it soaks it up and then you've just left with noodles, so it's a good anti-dribble thing as well. Just a bit gutted that I got the wrong size noodles. Let me get a bit of chicken. Oh. I mean, here's the other one. It's a bit cold now. You can see the difference. They almost look faded, don't they, those other noodles? There's a much more richer stock and broth in there by the looks of it. But that has actually all it's sort of solidified. It's the circle of life for pot noodles. But like, it's got all the specks of the herbs in it as well, and the mushrooms and the chicken and the sweet corn. Oh my gosh. It's still hot, lush. Oh my gosh, I just got a bit of chicken. It's still a teeny, it probably needs another couple of minutes just to sit there, just to rehydrate again. That is phenomenal. It's not a pot noodle. It's not a pot noodle by any means. But I mean, it is in the theory and the context of it. It's a noodle pot, whatever brand you buy. but the broth is so thicker. And the noodles have got a lovely texture to it. I'm not missing the salt in there at all. There's obviously some still in there, but we've reduced it significantly. That is actually phenomenal. It's blown my mind. Really good. Wow. I'm actually speechless. So the pot mash, again, look, from there, that's what I was used to seeing. There's only one person on Twitter that's just responded to me saying, yeah, I remember those. No one else believes me. They did exist. So the mash used to always go like that as well. It'd have curried specks in it. No. The texture's right. Do you know what that actually needs? This is going to sound horrendous. It actually needs some salt in there. It needs a bit of like, See, that's helped it already. It needs a bit more curry powder, a bit more salt, but I'm getting the density of the croutons. It's soft because the moisture of it just gets it there. Got the crunch of the onion as well. It works. I could experiment with that some more, but that was just a little personal fun project. A bit more seasoning in there, a bit more strong. I think stronger curry powder. I use mild as well. And I just love the fact that at the point of this whole video, that one, yeah, it needs some salt. But this is truly out of this world. I can't stop eating it. It's phenomenal. Remember, this isn't a sponsored video by Pot Noodle. I mean, I've said it so many times, it probably feels like it is. I don't think they're going to be sponsoring me anytime soon, but I'm trying to stay impartial. And, you know, I might have one every leap year, maybe, something like that. This reminds me, the taste-wise, of the slightly more expensive ones you get next to Pot Noodle or sometimes in the fresh aisle of the supermarket. The broth is phenomenal, and the noodles as well, just that extra bit of quality, and the fact that you know what you've put in it, I absolutely love it. So if you do try it, don't forget to tag me on social media with any variations you make. Play around with the dehydration side of it as well. That can really add so much to it. Don't forget to follow me on your social media of choice for behind the scenes bits and bobs. Consider becoming a patron for exclusive content and giveaways, and don't forget to subscribe. Forget to subscribe. Bye.
Check your level, player. No matter what your style, the kitchen's for me. Simon's moustache, goatee, maybe all three.
Was that the regular pot noodle?
Yeah.
See, like that? That looks alright.
Yeah, it's uniform colour, isn't it?
Yeah, that looks nice. Is this yours?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for saving me some.
That's my lunch.
Mine too.
Is it? Oh, I could have made you another one.
Okay.
I've got enough powder left.
Oh, it smells good. That's really nice.
It's stone cold though, are you okay with that?
I don't mind.
Yeah? You like
I'm
it?
hungry. Yeah, it is. It's good.
Can you taste the little chicken pieces in it?
I can. And the mushrooms.
Yeah.